welcome everyone. Welcome to the official launch of the cuvée Elisabeth Salmon in vintage 2008. It's a great pleasure to have you all. I am for those of you that don't know me, I am Mathieu Billecart, and I'm the 7th generation of the Billecart family to have the privilege to lead Champagne Billecart-Salmon. And I'm honored to have with me Paz Levinson. Paz is a great friend, but that's not a full-time job. She's also the head sommelier of the entire Anne-Sophie Pic group. I think everybody knows that, but Anne-Sophie is the lady chef that holds the most Michelin star in the world, with the mothership being in France, south of Lyon, in a city called Valence, where her family has held and she holds 3 Michelin stars. I'm delighted to announce that other than Paz's experience and what she brings to the best sommelier community in the world, Anne-Sophie Pic is in fact the godmother of this cuvée, as we've been working with her and her family since 1959. So it was obvious to us that Anne-Sophie almost had to be the godmother of this cuvée, and we're honored to have Paz with us. She'll share her experience. I mean, she's best sommelier of the Americas, and as I said, will bring her perspective on the tasting of this cuvée. So welcome, Paz.
Thank you very much, Matthew, and it's a pleasure to see everybody here. Different time zones as well, and Argentina also is quite early, but everybody is wake up. So I see a lot of friends from Argentina as well. And yes, it's great to share this launching of this beautiful cuvée, Elisabeth Salmon 2008, with these 2 versions. That the first time, these 2 versions. So it's been great to be in the restaurant, because there is so many days that I'm not in the restaurant and the restaurant is closed. And this is the beautiful restaurant of La Dame de Pique. And that is for me a restaurant that is very elegant and refined as the cuvée. So I thought that this is a very good place to taste. And yes, and I am alone and I have Magnus and bottles. So if someone wants to pass to have a glass,
it is tempting. Well, we'll go through a little bit.
Yeah,
we'll go through a little bit. So in terms of how we are going to deal with this hour. So I will tell you a little bit about the history of this cuvée. I won't cover the history of the house. I think most of you know. I will then cover sort of the how it's made element, the technical piece, the blend, and how we've made it. And then I will hand over to Paz, who will give us her experience as a sommelier and as an experienced taster of her perspective on the cuvée, both in bottle and in Magnum. And you've been you've been fantastic, sending us lots of questions. We will do our utmost to answer them in the initial presentation, and also I'll pick up some at the end. If for whatever reason we have not answered, please send us a little direct message on Instagram or an email, and we will respond. But bear with us, there have been quite a lot of them. But hopefully we cover it. So let me start with the history. As you know, I'm 7th generation of the Billecart family. So really, Fair House was founded in 1818, and we've been making rosé since on or around 1840. So the rosé is very much in our DNA. However, this cuvée is much more recent. This cuvée was created by my great uncle, who is 5th generation, and he created this cuvée with the 1988 vintage. So, and that was first released in 2001. So basically 20 years ago. The house was already well known for its rosé, and our prestige brut cuvée called Nicolas François also had his followers. So he was frequently asked by friends of the house to produce, I guess, the very best rosé, the prestige rosé version, which he did in 1988. And to him, having given the name Nicolas François to his prestige brut in the name of his ancestor, it was only right that the rosé was called Elisabeth Salmon then. So that's a bit for the history. Reasonably recent, only 20 years since its creation, but it's been a fantastic success ever since. The only problem we have with Elisabeth Salmon is we never have enough. That's really the challenge. Now on to the more sort of technical element, how it's made. So for those of you that know this cuvée, you know that it's typically a blend on or around 50% Chardonnay, 50% Pinot Noir. We lose the Meunier as compared to the Brut Rosé, largely because we expect this cuvée to age for a very, very long time. And whilst we love Meunier, in many respects, for aging of sort of 10, 20, 30 years, I think it's a little bit harder to go that far, or certainly it was then. So this blend for the 2008 vintage is 55% Pinot Noir, 45% Chardonnay, so a small difference. And it's made of 8 Grand Cru and 1 Premier Cru, and the Premier Cru being our own village of Marais-sur-Ailly. So in Pinot Noir, you have 6 cru. You have villages like Ambonnay, Bouzy, Verzenay, Verzy, all Montagne de Reims, and Ailly, which is a village next door, and Mareuil, our own village. Within that 55%, you have the proportion of wine which is vinified as red wine, because this is a blend rosé, one when we add a little bit of red wine, 9% to be accurate of the total blend, to the white blend we would typically make for champagne. Okay, so Mareuil, our own village, is where this parcel comes from. It's a very old parcel who is now 80 years old plus, so it was 60 years back then. So old vines that produce not a lot of grapes, and small grapes in terms of size, but that give great concentration in the juice, which obviously translates into high concentration in the wine, which means that whilst we use a little bit more red wine than we use in our Brut Rosé, it's still relatively low, 9% in comparison to what you can get elsewhere. In terms of care and vinification method, like all cuvées at Billecart, we use our cold fermentation. So we do our alcoholic fermentation on around 13 degrees Celsius. That makes it a slow process. We just don't do that just to make it slow for the sake of it. We do it because we're able to extract a level of finesse and elegance that we're not able to, or other people can't, when they work quicker. Big difference in the blend as compared to previous iteration of Elisabeth Salmon. This is the first time we've included a proportion of wine vinified in barrels. So we have over 226 liters Burgundian barrels, old barrels. They're on average 15 years old. Why old? We don't want the wine to be oaky. We just want the micro-oxidation and the wine to get some additional depth. Why that year? Because it was a very lean and very fresh year, and it was decided that the Pinots in particular needed to get some shoulders and a bit more strength, and the fût and the barrel, are great at giving that. So that's a decision that the tasting committee made in 2009. We bottled this particular cuvée in June 2009. And it was disgorged. You know, disgorgement is when we take the sort of dead yeast out. In the first batch was in July 2019. So it has spent at least 10 years on the lees. The lees is when we hold it horizontally with the sort of dead cells in there, where the wine has got time to gain complexity and layers of flavors. And we then applied a low dosage element for a rosé, where we just had about 7 grams, which is low for our versions of rosé. Okay, and then it's aged further time. So since July 19, so call it just under 2 years, in our cellar before it's started to ship it a few months back. So that's for the technical piece. I hope I've tried to answer many of the questions we got. If there are any more, please shout in the text box and we'll do our best to answer. And then I'll hand over to Paz, who is going to tell you about the most important thing, because it's not about how it's made, it's what it tastes like. And Paz will tell you that better than me. Over to you.
Yeah, so, well, I have the two formats. So then we are going to compare the bottle with the Magnum. Well, just to tell everybody that the first time we taste this cuvée, I think was in October last year, when we were visiting with Anne-Sophie. One of the things that I enjoy most with the chef is to visit vineyards, to visit wineries, and well, this was a very, very special visit. And we taste memorable bottles, and also the Elisabeth Salmon that 2008 that was going to be launched. So we were very excited to taste this wine. And then we have several opportunities to taste together, also in January, what was also amazing tasting. And yes, well, first it's great to taste with Anne-Sophie, because she's very inspired with what she found also in the nose and the palate. And I really, as a sommelier, I enjoy a lot all this communication and the exchange, which is very, very important for us as sommelier, that we can exchange all the time about aromas, perfumes, and taste. And when we taste, was instantly wow. And we start to talk about combinations and what we can serve with it. Well, first in the visual aspect, it's very delicate, but it's quite a strong for a champagne of assemblage, for a blend of red and white. Exactly, it's very beautiful color. I always speak about onion skin, a little bit more bright onion skin color. It's very clear, bright. You can see the little tiny bubbles that go up slowly, very delicately, and more if you serve in a big glass. And then we're going to speak also about glasses, about glassware. So just the visual aspect is a beautiful wine. And when we go to the nose and the perfume of this wine, I think it's the first impression is this complexity. It's difficult to explain in very few words, but very complex. So we have the red fruits, and very wild red fruits like wild strawberries, a little bit of cherries, very, very delicate, but 2008, and it's very young today. In the nose, it really feels younger, but all these aromas of fruits, and fresh and a little bit dry fruits, so it's very beautiful. And then Anne-Sophie was telling, but this has like the cinnamon leaf, and she used a lot cinnamon leaf in her kitchen, which is very perfume. Exactly is what we feel in this wine, and it's very special aroma, and that adds another dimension, with also the that we can feel the saffron, that many other aromas with a little bit of flow of forest floor, and you have the tertiary as well, but much more, but very, very youthful on the nose. So that is it's like, okay, you feel that on the nose, and you say, okay, I'm tasting one of the best champagne rosé of the whole world, and you have it here in the glass. I like very much as well all these, on the palate, for example, it's so bright. No, you have this aspect, really, you can feel the Magnum bottle. Then I can speak of difference, but just tiny a difference on the palate is that it's you feel drier the wine in the Magnum than in the bottle, but the bottle still, you know, you have this sweet and sour, but really dry and mineral in the beginning of the palate, and then you can feel also these very elegant bubbles, all the combination of these wild red fruits, the acidity, which is beautiful, the freshness, and it's very, very vivid. But at the same time, it has, you know, it has body. It is intense. It lasts a lot on the palate. So you drink, and then, you know, you remember the wine for a couple of minutes, and you keep on tasting the wine on the palate because of this bright acidity and this, you know, these complex aromas of the fruits and the forest floor and the mushrooms and the saffron and the cinnamon leaf. So it's all together, and well, it's inspiring for the table. It's inspiring for eating, for not for an aperitif, not just for an apéro. I think it opens so many ways of drinking, but we visualize the table of the restaurant and serving this with, you know, a beautiful main course.
And Anne-Sophie has done some, I mean, I don't want to sort of break some of the secrets we will reveal in the weeks ahead, but certainly some of the best pairings I've ever tried in my life. I mean, the only shame is there is absolutely no way I will ever intend to try anything remotely linked to it in my own kitchen. But other than that, it was perfect. Very
Exactly.
good review of the different personality of that cuvée through, you know, fish to desserts and everything. So
Yes.
we very much hope you'll be open soon so we can experience that again.
Yes, I hope. And so, well, it's a gastronomic wine, you know, and that's why I chose today 2 glasses to experiment, the bottle and the Magnum, and it's the L'Allemand number 2 and number 4. So the number 4 is the smaller one, and the number 2 is the bigger one. Mm-hmm. And it's a totally different experience. So I invite you to also change glasses in different moments of the dinner or lunch, because it's revealing different aromas, and also to remember that champagne is a wine, and it's very, very complex wine. So be careful with the temperature. And now that comes the summer, and be careful with the temperature and the sun. So are 2 very, you know, delicate things. So when we drink in the terrace, we have to be, you know, very away from the direct sunlight. But the temperature, I really, really like to taste this wine at 12 degrees, you know, and this type of glass, it helps a lot because the temperature is constant. We as sommeliers, we serve, you know, little by little, so you can have all this space to taste and to really feel all the aromas. So don't be aware, we are going to pour more, but it's to keep the temperature and also the experience of the glass. At Valence, we have also different kind of glasses. We have also Salto and Gabriel Gas, but today this is amazing experience, and I invite you to taste in different glasses. And the Magnum.
So not too cold, everybody, not too cold, and you can go for different shapes, but bigger glasses. Otherwise, it's not that it won't be good. It's you're less likely to get the full experience.
Yeah, and there is another glass that I really like. That is the Riedel Veritas champagne, which is very efficient as well. And I know that many people has this glass. I really like as well, and I use it. So it's a good glass for the champagne. And the Magnum. So the Magnum was incredible to open this bottle, and the first thing I found was a little bit of reduction of matchstick that I love, because it speaks about the useful of the youth of the wine. And also I think about so many years of being kept in this large format that really keep the wine and preserves the wine. You were talking about the cork.
Yeah.
So that it gives an extra oxidation complexity, but this large format also, it preserves from the oxygen as well. So the fruit of this wine is, you can feel much more fruitiness, and after this pencil shaving aroma, matchstick aroma, and then you find a lot of fruit, a lot of lovely fruit, which I really enjoy.
What Paz is referring to, she's absolutely right. She effectively gave me a prompt for the things I should have told you in the introduction. You haven't noticed, but that's what happened. Is the wine? So thank you, Paz. And the wine was the wine in the Magnum is disgorged, and we have the disgorgement date on the back label 1 year later than the bottle, to compensate exactly what Paz was referring to, for the fact that there is less air to wine exchange in a Magnum or in a big format than in a bottle. And the second element is, whilst the bottles were crown capped in sort of metal, which is the most way of protecting the wine, for Magnums, knowing what Paz just described to you, they were also sort of cork capped.
Yeah. And the palate is beautiful. And as I said, the sensation on the palate is drier, that is very dry, steely, very mineral, very sharp, and then in the palate it opens up with all these wild strawberries and cherries and all this also the complexity of the cinnamon leaf and the floral, because it has also decaying roses, and you can feel this on the palate, and then it's very long. You can have it many seconds on the palate, because of this lingering acidity as well, and this minerality. So it is useful. It is super useful. And blind, I think it's difficult to say 2008. The same that happened to me when I taste the 90 or the 88. Our wines very challenging to say the age, because it really aged very slow. And so I really appreciate but thank you for this experience to taste both formats at the same time. And in the restaurant is magic. I mean, we can have the magnums for larger tables, and I'll keep for many years in the cellar, and also the format of the bottle. So
that's where I think we've had many questions on that. I think well, first of all, there are not that many bottles, but there are even less magnums. So that's where it's going to be tricky. Really, the difference is going to play out depending on what aging you intend to have with your wine, which is a question I've had many times. So I better answer that, because that's linked to what Paz was telling you. We feel very confident on the ageability of a bottle of Elisabeth Salmon in a vintage like 08. So certainly feeling very confident for a 10-year plus 20 aging. However, if you really want to push the boat out and go further, think 20-30 years, and Paz and I tasted 88 and 1990 not so long ago, the Magnum will give you more assurance for that longevity. I think this wine is so fresh, so pure, that I suspect much like when we go to very old vintages, 1950s, 1960s, the cork will go before the wine goes. Just that, because that wine has got so much power. And there was a question from Laura earlier that I'll handle now. I can't remember about 96 in Magnums. We've always done a little bit, but that's never left the estate. So that's been for family reserves, and really it's only since this particular vintage that we talk about it. There's a little more than has been there, but magnums for long aging is probably the bigger parties and long aging, and because you're going to get more into the primary aromas that Paz described, where in the bottle you're starting to get a hint, and you can accelerate that with the tips that Paz gave you in terms of bigger glassware, temperature, potentially a little carafe if necessary, or opening the bottle, tasting over a few days. All of this is effectively getting to the point of oxidation. Really, that's what this is getting at. And the magnums will go further. And yes, the dosage is the same for mags and bottles.
Yeah, that's why I was talking about the real sensation, no, because I know that it's sensory, and that is the stage also of the wine that is like it's youthful, so you feel like more sharp on the palate, and that is a feeling and a difference about the two bottles. And today I enjoy very much this kind of glass, so the bigger one, because I think and I was thinking a lot about the tasting that we have done, Mathieu, with of the Pinot Noirs. How Pinot Noir in Champagne is getting amazing. I mean, better and better and better, and the different Pinot Noirs from different sites. And well, your favorite Pinot from Vieille Vigne, old wines, the freshness that has this wine, the delicacy as well, very fine tannins. So I think that this kind of wine, here we can serve also the Pinots, and we serve Burgundies as well. It's a very good glass that adapts also for Burgundies, and so I think this is very, very good shape of glass for Elisabeth Salmon today. So not be, for the people that still are using a lot of very thin glasses, I encourage them to taste the champagne in other kind of glasses, because you will find, many other dimensions of the wine. And it really changed in the mind, because if not, we keep the flute or the small the champagne glasses for the champagne, and the big glasses for the wine. And we have this. It's not anymore. The wine is champagne, and you can drink champagne all the dinner. And we love to do this with Anne-Sophie as well, doing dinners. With what we have made with you, a memorable dinner in London, with different cuvées of champagne and different glassware. So it's really, really, today I think we are in a very good moment to explore in glassware, because there is a lot and there is a very high quality as well. So, and
you're doing it in Singapore. I mean, the Dame de Pique in Singapore has it.
We are serving.
London will reopen soon, so we just need the world to free up to be able to put in practice all the top tips from Paz.
Yes, no, but it will be very soon. And yes, Singapore, we are happy. We will have all the months a menu, a special menu with your wines, and it's amazing hotel, amazing restaurant. So they're super happy to be launching as well the Elisabeth Salmon. With the kitchen of Anne-Sophie, that I think it's amazing, the combination.
Agreed. Should we move to the questions?
Yes, and also, well, yeah, questions and pairings, no, because there was a lot of question about pairings.
Well, one of the questions is about pairings, so why don't we start there, Paz?
Yes, that is our favorite topic. and yeah, wine and food and wine. So we are all the time talking about this with Anne-Sophie and all the team. We have a lot of sommeliers working with us, a lot of talented people working with us. Well, I feel very, very lucky. And yes, we are waiting to open, but we are doing a lot of things nowadays, and we will have special we're changing the cellar. So for all the ones that are hearing today, you will have to come again to see the wine cellar in Valence at the restaurant. And we are reserving a surprise as well, especially with Billecart-Salmon in the cellar, a very special place. So you have to, everybody, you have to come again.
Come with me. We all go together. We all go together.
We all go together. So we are super happy, and we see this challenging moment in a very positive way, because we're doing things that otherwise would be very difficult to do with the restaurant open. So we are working very hard nowadays. So for the pairing, we talk also in the French version, but I think this is a dish that we have to talk about, because it's one of the main dishes of Anne-Sophie, and it's the lobster. It's the Brittany lobster, and it's roasted. And what is special as well is the type of lobster, but also the infusion, the broth that Anne-Sophie makes. And I am super fan of her broth and infusions, because when I arrived to Group Pic, everything, it sounds like me like a cocktail, you know, like a amazing cocktail, like you know, gin and pepper and, you know, and flowers, and so I was like, wow, this is you know, is amazing, and it's very creative to think it this way, because really the dishes inspired for many other things. So we do cocktails today as well, inspiring the dishes, and I love her infusions. She's very delicate and very complex infusions. So the lobster has a dashi, and this is the broth that is made with you know, with seaweed and also katsuboshi, the dried bonito. I don't know how it's in English, but there's the dried fish, and so it's really it has an infusion of red fruits. And so it has the acidity of the red fruits. It has all the iodine and you know, sea scent of the seaweed, and I was instantly thinking about this wine, because you can feel all these red fruits, very delicate red fruits, the minerality, the acidity, the complexity, then you know, the mushrooms, and all that together. So it's very inspiring, this dish for this cuvée, and also it has a different kind of beetroots, and also a bush that is épine vinette, that it also is very fresh acidity. In English is barberry, and this adds an extra complexity to the dish. And we love to serve with the Elisabeth Salmon, and when we are open, you know, to sell to pair it with the 2008, because it's going to be the first time that we can serve the 2008. So this is a classic dish. But as you said, in Singapore we are serving with a veal, and it's amazing also with veal, or even with lamb, because Anne-Sophie also makes lamb with, for example, with seaweed as well, and you know, seaweed, artichoke, very complex. Also figs. We were serving that before the closing the restaurant, and I love this kind of wines, and this wine, because of because it has a very powerful palate. So you can say, okay, but maybe there is a lot of people that associate the rosé with desserts, me as well, but I really feel that it's a wine that you can do many things, you know, like the lobster, the veal, the lamb, and for the desserts, well, we have as well very good dessert with rhubarb, for example, and pink grapefruit, and a very lemony pepper that is the Batak pepper. We have a very good chef pâtissier. And so
I can confirm. I can confirm you have a very good chef.
Yeah, yeah. All people that that came to visit us, they know. So
Yeah.
you have to come.
Yeah, you and one of the pairing we will show you, and I will share it with you. I mean, we're not meant to, but you'll see it. Anne-Sophie has prepared a dish that I didn't even know was technically possible. She's cooking a scallop. I think it's a kind of steam cooked, but I'm not explaining it right. In a coconut with shaved truffles and geranium. Mind-blowing is half the compliment we should be paying it. And with that cuvée, it really harnesses the sort of the sea saltiness element with the scallop, the exotic side with the coconut, and the shaved truffle harnesses that third layer of complexity and sort of what we described in winemaking as tertiary aromas. You know, the pepperiness, the saffron. Yeah, I mean, I can only say mind-blowing. My only hope is I get to try another time in my life. That's all. That's it.
Yes, I think you express very well the kitchen of Anne-Sophie, because it's super complex, but at the same time it's delicious, very complex, and you can take it out of the mind. You know, when you taste it, it's like, oh wow, I need to experience it again. And it's really special, her way of cooking and of communicating by the dishes and the preparations, all her world. So it's very inspiring, and me as a sommelier, I feel inspired every day. So today, well, we are doing many things in Group Peak, and yeah, thanks for this all the time creativity and exchange, and thanks for our teams as well.
And we know Anne-Sophie, she's also inspired by the work your sommelier team is doing. Let's move on to the set questions that we haven't quite answered. There are some for you, so I will ask them on behalf of the people that send them. You did it brilliantly in French, so I'll ask you in English. It was the 3 words that could summarize or describe, or best describe the cuvée. Yeah, and I was going to come on to that. I'll let you have 4 in the French version, so you can have 4 if you want in the English version.
Thank you. Thank you. So I
wrote them down if you forgot.
Okay. No, but I think that there are 4 words that can describe this cuvée, and one is elegant. And when I think elegant, I think very fine. The finesse, but it's elegant. No, wait. Elegant is one. Then also the power, the strength of the cuvée, the perfume.
She's good. She got it spot on.
The perfume, and I forgot the 4th. Wait.
No, that's it.
No, and the precision. And the precision.
Yeah, you had precision. That's exactly. 5. That doesn't count.
And the precision, because all this together, you know, it can be in a wine, but you need to be precise. So I think this cuvée, it has this precision and this complexity. So yeah. So I don't know how many words I said, but
no, that's all good. That's all good. And then the other question you had is one, but you can have 2. Was what was your best souvenir or sort of thing that you remember the most about Billecart-Salmon generally? Yeah.
So I remember a lot a visit of Antoine Billecart to Argentina many years ago. I don't going to speak about my age, but this was many years ago, and I remember that we tasted Billecart-Salmon Rosé, and I really, you know, was a moment of my life that I was doing a lot of contests. I won the best sommelier of Argentina. I was really thinking what to do next, because I was working a lot in Argentina, but I wanted to be better every day and to keep on learning. And in Argentina, it's very difficult to have wines from all the world. And so I was really, when I taste this wine, I said I need to live in for some years in a place that I need to taste these wines regularly. I need to learn. I need to be better sommelier, and I need to travel, and I need to see the world and taste wines. And so it was a very beautiful scenario. I think it was in the Four Seasons in Palacio Dubó in Argentina, in Buenos Aires, where I was living, and it was a great tasting. So I am very thankful for that, and also well, I will never forget this tasting, and I want to talk about other memory that it was not a long time ago, but when I enter to the space where you have the big
the oak cask,
the oak casks, the 26 oak casks, it's really amazing. I mean, I don't feel this very oftenly, you know. It's really a sensation of wow, these guys are crazy.
A little bit,
it's amazing. It's like a, you know, it's like homage of the craft of these oak casks, and what the oak cask can give to the wine, and what the oak can give to a wine like champagne, that has that is so elegant, and wines like this. So I celebrate the 17% of the barrel that has this wine. I think it adds an extra dimension to the wine for this 2008, and it's really adding complexity and nothing about the aromas of the oak. It's adding an extra layer structure. So I invite everybody to go to visit the winery, because it's
when we can welcome you, we will be delighted, but we at the moment we can't, but let's hope so. Just one last question, which I guess I need to answer. I'm probably better placed, is the difference between the 07 vintage, which were last released but has been out of certainly our cellar for well over a year now, and the 2008 version. And I think the simpler way of expressing it is 2008 is very much playing the freshness and salinity card, where 2007 had a rounder, richer, more sort of dark fruit element. So you will get that with 08, but you'll need to be patient. What's not unique but very rare about the Elisabeth 08 is its freshness and its precision that Paz described. It's nearest comparable. We've had a lot of debate internally on what can be compared with. The reality is one of those that we can't. So it draws upon 96 for its freshness and the fact it stands upright. 2002 because it has more shoulders already from the get-go, and that hint of patisserie and pepperiness and saffron borrows a little bit from 07. So like children, they all have their different personalities, so they're unique in their own way, but that's the nearest we can give you to a comparison in a vintage. The best way to experience it is to try it. And then the cheeky question was, is it better to have 2 bottles or a magnum? I guess it depends how many people you have, and more importantly, I think, and more seriously, when do you intend to open that, whether it's a bottle or a magnum. I think the bottle will give you a more evolved version, and will certainly, as I said, hold easy 10, 20 years, not concerned about that one bit, and possibly longer. For those of you that intend to experience it further out, potentially 20 years plus, the Magnum is always a better option, and everybody knows that a party with more than 2 people is always a party with more than 2 bottles, and therefore the Magnum is where it goes. So that's a serious answer to a cheeky question, and I'm sure that person that sent it to us, knowing him, will try both. We'll try both to compare. So I'm not concerned.
Exactly. No, and it's great to taste. I mean, I know I am small, so it's difficult to me to finish a Magnum. But I was telling that as a taster, I always like to taste the wines when I open, after opening, and then after several hours, and the day after as well. And you can feel the complexity. You can feel also how the wine will evolve as well. And this is wine that it gives you more complexity in the second day as well. So it's a Magnum, and you can drink it all. You keep the rest for the breakfast the following day, and
that's it. Look, I think that's a note we should end on, because that's not gonna get that's the highest note. So look, a big thank you to Paz. We are honored to have her with us, because she's, as I said, one of the greatest. And we even also honored to do that deep partnership, or to showcase the deepness of that partnership with Anne-Sophie. We very much hope. I know I've noticed many UK participants, and I'm not going to put Paz on the spot as to the exact date where Anne-Sophie the Four Seasons reopened in London, but she is in London. So for those of you, what was the date?
20 May. 20th.
Like guys, that's tomorrow.
Now.
You can start booking.
Yeah.
Let's start booking.
We're fully booked.
We will be there in France. Singapore is already open. Megève this summer, as soon as it's possible, this spring. So we will be there, certainly. The Billecart team will be there. But if you have not already done so, I can't encourage you enough to experience the Anne-Sophie's cooking and Paz's skills in selection. She's won recently, actually, I didn't say that, best wine list in Lausanne and many other things. Try it. Try it, and I think you will thank us for it. And if you want to try it with a glass of Billecart, then I'm sure it will be all fine.
Yeah.
So thank you all, and see you soon. Cheers, for a glass to share in the new world.
Cheers, everybody. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Mathieu.
Thanks, Paz.
Bye-bye. Good weekend.